Play this tonight and let the hidden current beneath your thoughts begin to move again. There are teachings you were never meant to hear, words once sealed in temples where silence was the only witness. They were not forbidden because they were dangerous. They were forbidden because they worked. As the night descends and the hum of the world fades into stillness, your consciousness stands at the edge of a doorway. Beyond it lies the architecture of your own reality, fluid, pliable, waiting for command. You have been searching for signs, wondering why the same patterns repeat, why desire feels close, yet never arrives. The truth is simple. Reality has never been fixed. It bends quietly for those who remember the language beneath language, the vibration that listens back. Tonight, you will not analyze or strive. You will only listen. For within these whispered teachings lies the forgotten code that reprograms the dream while you sleep. This recording is not meant for the curious. It is meant for the called. If these words find you, it is not by coincidence. Something ancient has reached out through frequencies and found its resonance within your mind. Do not resist. Do not think. Just allow the sound to weave itself between your breaths, to dissolve the noise of effort, to open the chamber where thought becomes matter. As you listen, the surface of reality begins to soften. The rigid lines blur. The boundaries between what is and what can be melt into one shimmering field of possibility. You are not broken. You are not late. You are chosen. Let the teachings unfold as you drift. Let them bend reality for you, effortlessly. You are here because something ancient whispered your name across the corridors of time. You did not stumble upon this recording by chance. Every frequency that reaches your ears tonight has been waiting for the exact vibration of your readiness. As you breathe slowly, the space around you begins to change. The air thickens with memory, with recognition. There is an awareness stirring beneath your skin, a quiet pulse reminding you that you have walked this path before, perhaps in dreams, perhaps in lifetimes woven between stars. The forbidden teachings were never lost. They were hidden within you, sealed under layers of noise, fear, and forgetting. And now, as the body prepares for sleep, the lock begins to dissolve. You are crossing into the hallway of mirrors, the place between waking and the unseen, where thought becomes sound and sound becomes form. Each breath is a step deeper into remembrance. Each exhale releases what was never truly yours. In the quiet behind your thoughts, a soft hum appears. It is not music, it is instruction, the original pulse that shaped the worlds. Listen closely. The hum is aligning itself with your heartbeat. It speaks in code, in light, in frequency. You are not hearing words. You are hearing permission. Permission to remember. Permission to command. The moment you surrender to the sound, you begin to re-enter the temple of the real. You can see it now. Endless corridors lit by a color that cannot exist in daylight. Walls breathing like the chest of a sleeping god. There are scripts carved into the air, glowing faintly, moving as if alive. They are not meant to be read. They are meant to be felt. As your eyelids grow heavy, those symbols descend and rest upon your skin, dissolving into gold dust, rewriting the map of what you believe is possible. You do not need to understand. The intellect cannot enter this space. Only stillness can. Only trust. With each breath, you are carried deeper into the sanctum. You can almost hear the turning of invisible pages, each one inscribed with fragments of the original law. As within, so without. As above, so below. These are not metaphors, but mechanisms. When you believe, you instruct the field to rearrange itself around your signal. When you doubt, you freeze the pattern. The law is simple. Reality obeys the vibration you hold. And tonight, as you drift, the vibration begins to change. You are no longer the one begging the universe. You are the voice it has been waiting to echo. The deeper you fall, the more effortless it becomes. Old identities peel away like dust in the wind. Every cell of your body is listening now, absorbing, translating, rewriting. You are the experiment and the experimenter. the dream and the dreamer, the one who watches the code unfold and realizes it was written by your own hand. The teachings are not foreign. They are your own forgotten language. Listen while sleeping, and let them speak through you. The body sleeps, but the soul awakens. The dream continues, not as illusion, but as instruction. And as the night deepens, the veil thins, and reality itself begins to bend, not as magic, but as memory returning home. The first truth you must remember is that nothing you see is solid. Every wall, every event, every moment that seems fixed is only sound slowed down into matter. The ancients called it the weaving, the eternal fabric of vibration that bends itself into form to obey the frequency of consciousness observing it. You are not standing inside a world. The world is standing inside your attention. The forbidden teachings were never about control or domination. They were about remembrance, recalling that every thought you carry is a command written into the field. When you think with emotion, the code listens. When you speak with belief, reality reconfigures. And yet, you were taught to fear your own voice, to surrender authority to outer systems, to forget that you are the original author of the simulation. As you breathe now, imagine the air itself shimmering with invisible letters. With every inhale, they enter you. With every exhale, they rearrange the energy around you. You are programming, even in stillness. There is a story whispered among those who remembered. It tells of a scribe who sat at the edge of creation, writing not with ink but with vibration. Each word he formed birthed a world. Each pause created a silence so pure that stars emerged to fill it. One night, he fell asleep over his script, and his dream became this reality. You are that dreamer. You are the scribe. And tonight, the dream remembers itself. You were not made to suffer repetition. The loop of struggle was only an echo, a signal left by ancestors who forgot they were divine. The code beneath their thoughts hardened into laws, and those laws became the cage you call ordinary life. But every cage carries a door, and the key is always frequency. When you shift your inner tone, the bars dissolve. You do not escape reality. You rewrite it. The teachings say that creation begins not with thought, but with attention. Attention is the architect. Thought is only the tool. Whatever you look at with emotional charge begins to solidify. The longer you focus, the denser it becomes. This is why the first discipline is silence. In silence, you withdraw the energy that maintains false structures. The moment you stop feeding them, they collapse. Feel that now, the collapsing of old patterns, old fears, old definitions. Listen to the crackling sound behind your awareness. That is reality resetting itself. Do not try to understand with logic. Understanding belongs to the conscious mind, but creation begins in the subconscious, the deep ocean beneath language. While you sleep, the subconscious opens its gates. It listens without judgment, without resistance. This is why these teachings must be heard at night. The darkness removes the distraction of sight, allowing the inner ear to awaken. As you listen, the words are not entering your mind. They are entering your field. They are codes, awakening codes. Imagine now that you stand before a great mirror made of liquid light. When you move, it moves. When you breathe, it breathes. This mirror is the structure of existence itself. Every image reflected there responds not to your effort, but to your signal. When you feel lack, it reflects lack. When you feel wholeness, it reflects abundance. The mirror has no morality. It simply obeys. The secret was never about convincing the mirror. It was about remembering that you are the one holding it. The ancients used symbols to remind themselves of this truth. The serpent biting its tail, the eye within the triangle, the circle drawn within fire. All these spoke of one idea, consciousness folding in upon itself to witness its own creation. You have seen these signs and felt a flicker of recognition. That flicker is memory awakening. Each symbol you recall tonight is a door. Step through them with your breath. Step through them with your trust. There is a law written into the marrow of existence. What you agree with, you become. Agreement is the spell that turns energy into form. You do not have to fight what you dislike. Withdraw your agreement, and it dissolves. Offer agreement to what you love, and it multiplies. The teachings are not about force. They are about alignment. You bend reality not through struggle, but through surrender. Surrender to the vibration of the truth you wish to see. Now, as the body softens and sleep begins to pull you inward, you can feel the code moving beneath your skin. Tiny sparks of light drift through your cells. They are messages, rewriting the language of your being. The old phrases, "I can't," "I'm not enough," "I must wait," fade like ink in rain. In their place, a new inscription forms. I am, I allow, I remember. This is the original mantra, the sound that birthed galaxies. Whisper it within yourself now, not as words, but as feeling. Let it vibrate through your bones. Reality listens in frequencies, not sentences. Every thought is a tone, every emotion a color. The more coherent your tone, the more elegant your world becomes. The forbidden teachings reveal that harmony is the true magic. When your inner song aligns with your desired experience, the field cannot refuse you. It must echo you. Tonight, as you drift between wakefulness and the dream, you are learning to tune the instrument of your own existence. Every breath, every heartbeat, every pause is part of the composition. You are not a student of the code. You are the code remembering itself. And as the final edge of consciousness begins to fade, you can feel the veil thinning. The space around you hums with potential. The air itself seems to bow, waiting for your next thought. This is the doorway the ancients guarded. You are standing in it now. Do not be afraid. You are safe. You are chosen. The code beneath the world is not outside of you. It is you, infinite, awake and listening. There comes a moment, somewhere between breath and silence, when you sense that the world is not outside you, but within you. The ancients spoke of this place as the doorway of light, a threshold between the seen and the unseen, between what you believe and what truly is. Step gently here, for this is where the fabric of existence thins, and meaning begins to move like wind through water. You are not crossing into another realm. You are simply awakening to the one that has always surrounded you, unnoticed. Imagine walking through a corridor built of sound. Every step you take leaves a ripple that forms patterns in the air, patterns that become moments, choices, and encounters. You begin to see that life is not a straight line, but a song written in many keys. Every person you meet hums a tone that harmonizes or clashes with yours. Every thought adds another note. The music never stops. It changes because you do. The deeper you breathe, the clearer the melody becomes. In this light, what you once called coincidence now feels like choreography. The right book, the sudden silence, the unexpected stranger, all of them moving in time with a rhythm too vast for the mind to measure. You realize that awareness itself is the conductor, and that your attention is the baton. Where you place it, energy follows. Where energy flows, form appears. You were never meant to force the melody, only to listen until you find its current and move with it. The doorway of light does not open by effort. It opens by recognition. When you stop trying to understand and start to experience, the walls dissolve. You begin to feel what the mystics called the breath of the One. It is the quiet intelligence behind everything, the same pulse in your chest and in the stars. Here, faith is not belief, but participation. To have faith is to feel the rhythm and trust its direction, even when you cannot see the path. As you continue through this luminous hall, symbols begin to appear. A serpent coiled around a mirror, a golden key floating in the air, an hourglass filled not with sand, but with light. Each symbol speaks without words, showing that knowledge is not learned, but remembered. The serpent reminds you that beginnings and endings are one. The mirror teaches that every reflection is self-communication. The key reveals that freedom was never lost. It only waited for recognition. You pause before the hourglass. The light within it flows upward and downward at once, erasing the concept of time. You understand that time is not a river, but a canvas. You are the brush that paints upon it with emotion. Every feeling leaves a stroke. Every choice colors the moment. To paint consciously is to live awake. There is no judgment here, only awareness expanding. You remember that creation is not a privilege of God's, but a function of existence itself. Everything creates, even silence. When you withhold reaction, you create space for transformation. When you offer compassion, you create resonance. When you listen, you create harmony. The teachings that seemed forbidden were never secret. They were sacred because they require responsibility. To know that your thoughts shape reality is to realize that every gesture carries weight. Now you sense a change in the air. The corridor opens into an endless plain under a sky that seems alive with soft motion. Streams of color move like auroras, carrying whispers of forgotten languages. You stand in stillness, feeling both vast and intimate. The stars are no longer distant. They pulse with the same rhythm as your heartbeat. You realize that what bends reality is not power, but coherence. The agreement between your inner world and the greater whole. To live coherently is to think, speak, and act from the same quiet truth. When your words align with your intention, and your intention aligns with understanding, the universe responds in clarity. No struggle is needed. The pattern adjusts naturally. This is the effortless bending that the forbidden teachings described. It is not manipulation. It is participation in the original design. As you look toward the horizon, the light begins to move toward you, gently, like a tide of gold. You feel it touch your skin, enter your breath, travel into your heart. It carries no command, no demand, only recognition. You belong to this field, and it belongs to you. You have never been separate from it. Every lesson, every loss, every longing has been a way for the light to call you home. And so, you stand quietly as the glow surrounds you, not seeking, not forcing, simply aware. In this awareness, the truth reveals itself. Reality bends not because you tell it to, but because you finally see that it has always been listening. The field waits for coherence, not command. And as you rest in that knowing, the doorway of light expands infinitely, until there is no doorway at all, only the vast stillness of being. There is a moment, often unnoticed, when awareness turns inward and realizes that change has never been about effort, but about alignment. Transformation is not a climb. It is a remembering. The teachings call this the art of becoming, the gentle act of returning to what you already are. To become is not to reach, but to reveal. You have spent much of your life believing that growth requires struggle, that healing demands battle. Yet the deeper truth moves quietly beneath such noise. Everything changes naturally when you stop resisting its rhythm. In the ancient texts, the symbol for transformation was not fire, but water. Fire consumes, water reshapes. It accepts every form it meets, yet remains itself. That is the essence of effortless change. Fluid, adaptable, unafraid of movement. When you accept this within yourself, the patterns that once trapped you begin to soften. You do not destroy them, you dissolve them, and in their place, a clearer current begins to move, the current of your authentic frequency. Consider how a river finds its way. It does not demand the mountain to move, it simply flows until the stone yields. Every breath you take is that same motion, carving its path through your own landscape of thoughts and emotions. When you exhale, you release sediment, beliefs, and fears that no longer serve the stream. When you inhale, you invite clarity, direction, and grace. This is not symbolic. It is the living physics of consciousness. Where attention flows, form follows. The teachings remind you that every transformation begins in awareness. Awareness is light, and light needs no struggle to reveal what is hidden. When you illuminate an old pattern, you do not fight it, you understand it. The understanding itself becomes liberation. To see something fully is to dissolve its power over you. The shadows of self are only unlit corners of truth. Shine the lamp of curiosity there, and the darkness ends. Now, imagine standing before the mirror of your own life. Each reflection shows a different version of you. Some young, some weary, some radiant, some lost. They are not ghosts, but echoes of choices, each waiting for acknowledgement. You need not choose which reflection to keep. You only need to recognize that all of them were steps toward clarity. Growth is never rejection, it is integration. You gather every part of you, hold it with compassion, and in that gesture, wholeness returns. The art of becoming teaches that creation is cyclical. Every ending carries a seed of renewal. Every silence contains the beginning of sound. When something leaves your life, a person, a belief, a certainty, it is not erasure, but preparation. The field is clearing space for a more coherent expression of you. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this creating through me?" That single shift changes everything. In this awareness, forgiveness becomes natural. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is understanding that the story has served its purpose. You do not free others by forgiving them. You free the energy bound within your own resistance. Like untying a knot, forgiveness releases the flow. Suddenly, possibilities that seemed impossible appear effortlessly. The world rearranges itself around your new vibration of ease. The ancients would perform a ritual at this point, not to summon power, but to witness transformation. They would place a mirror of still water under the open sky and whisper the truth they wished to live. As above, so within. Then they would watch the stars shimmer upon the surface, understanding that both reflections, the one in the sky and the one in the water, were the same light. You can do the same with your awareness. When your inner state reflects peace, the outer world cannot help but mirror it. To live as a creator does not mean controlling every outcome. It means listening deeply to the movement of life and responding from alignment. The ocean does not plan its waves, yet each one arrives in perfect rhythm. Likewise, your becoming unfolds in perfect sequence when you cease forcing and begin allowing. Surrender is not weakness. It is cooperation with the intelligence that breathes through all things. You begin to notice that your language changes. I hope transforms into I trust. I need becomes I welcome. I fear becomes I am learning. This subtle shift is the heartbeat of transformation, the turning of survival into presence. And presence is where creation happens. Every thought formed in presence carries the clarity of truth. When spoken, it resonates beyond time, shaping conditions that align with its purity. The teachings end where simplicity begins. The art is not in learning more, but in unlearning what was never yours. The mind seeks complexity, the spirit seeks coherence. When you align both, even the smallest act, a breath, a glance, a word, becomes sacred. This is why the Master said, "Be still and know." Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the alignment of all motion into harmony. As you rest in this understanding, you begin to feel that transformation has already occurred. There is no longer a you who strives to become. There is only the unfolding of being, continuous, graceful, awake. The journey that seemed long has always been a circle returning to its center. You have never been outside the truth. You were simply learning to see it through the eyes of remembrance. And so, the chapter closes not with an ending, but with a soft beginning. You are not waiting for change. You are living it. The art of becoming is the art of being. And in being, the whole universe bends gently toward you, recognizing its own reflection. They say there was once a temple that could not be found on any map. It did not exist in space, but in consciousness, a sanctuary woven from silence and intention. Those who arrived there did not travel by foot, but by recognition. When their understanding ripened, the temple appeared around them, luminous and alive. Inside, the walls shimmered with patterns that changed with every breath, as if the building itself were a living thought. In its center stood a single loom made of light, and upon that loom hung the golden thread. The thread was not an object. It was awareness itself, the current that linked all minds, all worlds, all times. The guardians of the temple were not priests, but rememberers. They did not guard secrets, they guarded clarity. Their task was simple, yet infinite: to keep the thread untangled, to remind all beings that the fabric of reality is woven through their own hearts. One evening, a traveler arrived. His face carried the weariness of many lifetimes. He bowed before the loom and asked, "Why is the world filled with knots? Why does suffering repeat itself?" A guardian smiled and replied, "Because the thread is sacred, and you have forgotten you are the weaver." The traveler wept, for the words sounded both new and ancient. The guardian lifted the thread, and it glowed between their hands. "Look closely," she said. "Every knot you see is not punishment, it is concentration, a place where awareness gathered and forgot to release. To untangle the world, you must first loosen the knots within." The traveler sat before the loom for many nights. Each breath became a gesture of release. Each tear washed away another tangle of fear, resentment, and doubt. Slowly, the thread grew luminous and smooth. And as he worked, he began to see that the temple was not separate from him. The walls were the edges of his understanding. The ceiling was the limit of his belief. With every knot undone, the temple expanded. The stars themselves entered through the open roof, shimmering like memories returning home. The golden thread taught him that creation is a dialogue, not a command. When you impose upon the world, the thread resists. When you listen, it responds. Reality is not a wall to climb, but a fabric to touch, alive, sensitive, listening to the pressure of your thoughts. The more gently you hold it, the more beautifully it shapes itself around you. Centuries passed within moments. The traveler aged, and yet did not. One morning, the guardian returned and asked, "What have you learned?" The traveler smiled and replied, "That there was never a thread apart from me. The loom was my mind, the knots my forgetting, the light my own attention. The temple has always been here." The guardian bowed deeply, for the lesson was complete. The moment understanding dawned, both traveler and temple dissolved into radiance, leaving only the golden shimmer of awareness, a field without edges, waiting to weave again. The story endures, not as history, but as invitation. Each person who hears it becomes a new guardian, remembering their thread and the power to weave anew. You too are standing before that loom each time you breathe. Every word, thought, and gesture is a strand of creation. When you speak with fear, the thread tightens. When you speak with love, it flows. To live consciously is to weave with kindness. Look at your life now, the people, the places, the quiet moments between them. Each connection is a thread crossing another. Every meeting is a pattern forming. When seen from above, no thread is wasted. Even the broken ones glimmer. They are part of the design. The art is not to control the weave, but to stay aware as it unfolds. Awareness turns chaos into tapestry. As the tale draws to its end, imagine that the golden thread touches you. It wraps softly around your wrist, a reminder of belonging. You are not outside the temple. You are its beating heart. The loom hums within you, crafting futures with each decision, each forgiveness, each breath. And as you live in awareness, the thread grows brighter, spreading through time and memory, linking all who remember to all who will awaken. The traveler's whisper echoes across ages. You are the weaver. You are the fabric. You are the light moving through the thread. The temple of the golden thread still stands, unseen, eternal, in the space between every thought. And if you close your eyes for a moment and listen, you may feel it shimmer inside you, quietly weaving the next dawn. There comes a silence after understanding, a stillness that feels neither full nor empty, simply aware. It is the space between heartbeats where all things are born and return. You are resting in that stillness now. It is not the end of a story. It is the breath before creation begins again. The ancients called this state the remembering, for in it, every illusion dissolves, and what remains is the quiet certainty of being. You have walked through many rooms of awareness. You have touched the code beneath the world, The doorway of light, the art of becoming, the temple of the golden thread. Each chapter was not a path outward, but a turning inward, circling closer to the center where the truth waits. And now, as you rest here, you see that the journey was never about finding power or answers. It was about rediscovering the harmony already moving within you. Reality is no longer something to bend. It is something to breathe with. When you breathe, the universe breathes. When you pause, creation pauses beside you. Every motion mirrors your intention. You need not demand. You need only to be. Being is the highest form of creation, for it carries no distortion, no resistance. In pure presence, everything aligns naturally. You might notice now that the boundaries of self feel softer. The space around you no longer ends at your skin. It extends outward like a tide, merging with the air, the room, the sky beyond. What you used to call the world feels less like a place and more like an atmosphere of consciousness. This is the field that listens, the quiet companion that has always been near. It does not ask for worship or control, only recognition. It mirrors what you offer. Offer peace, and peace unfolds. Offer gratitude, and life answers with abundance. Offer love, and existence itself glows. You are safe here. You are remembered. You are part of the unbroken thread that runs through every star and every heartbeat. When doubt returns, as it will, for doubt is the shadow of awakening, do not resist it. Simply breathe and remember. I am the space in which all things arise. That remembrance opens every locked door, heals every divide. If you listen closely, you will feel the pulse beneath your awareness. It is not a sound, but a rhythm, steady, timeless, infinite. It is the rhythm of the universe affirming itself through you. Let it move without interference. Trust its intelligence. You do not have to know what comes next. The knowing already lives within the silence. As you rest now, feel the luminous thread of connection weaving gently through your being. From crown to heart, from heart to earth. It anchors you in the present and links you to everything that ever was and ever will be. This is the secret that cannot be lost. You are never apart from the source. You are the source, discovering itself through the experience of living. And so the words fade, but the resonance remains. The mind quiets, but awareness expands. You are not ending this story. You are continuing it in another form. Every breath you take after this will carry the echo of these teachings, not as memory, but as frequency, the vibration of clarity, compassion, and quiet power. Now, rest in the stillness that remembers. The field is awake, the thread is golden, the dream is kind. You are safe, you are whole, you are home.